Hello, everybody. Welcome to 912 Sports. Kevin Price, podcast host and staff writer for 912. As you can see, I'm joined by a Georgia Bulldog from the 912 area code, Warren McClendon, a offensive lineman for the University of Georgia. Of course, Warren McClendon from Brunswick, Georgia, but right now sitting in Athens, Georgia. I'm, of course, in Brunswick, Georgia, but Warren is a former standout offensive lineman for the Brunswick High School Pirates. The Georgia Bulldogs are fresh off their G-Day game, wrapping up spring practice, and Warren is here to talk to us all about that and Georgia's spring practice. Of course, Georgia getting ready for the 2021 season, which is not all that far off now as we're getting ready to go into the summer months, and Georgia will continue prep work for the 2021 season. But Warren, thanks for being with us. Good to see you, a familiar face, and hopefully you're glad to see a familiar face as well after talking to maybe reporters you maybe don't know so well, but we certainly appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you for having me.
I think, Warren, the last time I remember doing a one-on-one interview with you, we were actually in one of the back rooms at the Brunswick High Gym. You were just I think, hours away from committing to the University of Georgia. Your dad was sitting with us. I think it was late spring, early summer, if I remember correctly, going into your senior year. And then just a matter of months later, you were in the stage in the new auditorium over there at the high school with your family, and your Uncle Willie was on the stage with you. And I remember looking at him, and he was fighting back tears of joy as another McClendon was getting ready to sign on the dotted line with the Georgia Bulldogs. But again, we appreciate your time this morning. And like I told you, Warren, before we came on, I'll ask you some of the same boring questions I know that you answered after the G-Day game on Saturday, as you were one of the players picked to talk to the media. But I promise I'll ask you maybe some local questions that maybe some of those guys probably wouldn't ask you. But one of the questions you were asked, of course, you did not get to have a spring practice session last year with Georgia because of COVID-19. And, of course, y'all did not have a G-Day game as a result. So, obviously, I don't know how fun spring practice necessarily was. I know practice is always a grind, but maybe it was fun this year after not getting to do it last year. But just talk about getting to go out there and compete with your teammates in front of the fans and having a good Saturday afternoon there in Sanford Stadium.
Yeah, especially with not having spring last year, it was big for us to come out here this year and, bond as a team and get all our little kinks out before the season starts. Spring is always a good time for the older players and younger players for them to learn more and just for us to, keep perfecting our craft.
And talk about the offensive line. I know, the offensive line as a group is one of the hardest things to come together in spring practice throughout the summer and really throughout the season. So from start of spring to the end of spring, how do you think you guys did? Did you see some progress being made?
Oh, yeah, we definitely got better as a group. We still have more to do, more to get better. And, that'll just take time over the summer, just in the weight room, just building that connection going into the season.
Now, I know Coach Smart did sort of call y'all out a little bit. He said there's still a lot of work to be done up there. I think maybe one of the things he was critical of from the spring game was maybe pass protection a little bit. Maybe he thought one of the things he said was you guys maybe could have formed a better pocket. I know the defense was allowed to bring some pressures that maybe you don't normally see in a spring game. Of course, I know they couldn't tackle the quarterback to the ground. I don't know if you guys have had time to necessarily go back and watch the game film as a group or if you watched it by yourself. But in the days since the spring game, what have the coaches really said about the performance of the offensive front?
I said we did good, but we always can do better, And we watched a little bit of film, just got in and corrected the mistakes that we made, and just getting better from there.
What were some of the things that maybe Coach Smart or some of the coaches did point out?
Just have little things like having a cleaner pocket, recognizing the twist game, little indicators that kind of tells us that they're about to run twist and stuff like that, and just being able to pick it up.
Okay. And then as for you, I don't know if they evaluated your performance individually or if you went back and, analyzed yourself, but talk about maybe the way they thought you played or the way you thought you played.
I went back. I watched myself. Went back, watched the film. I thought I could have played better, but in the first half, I thought I could play better. In the second half, I think I came out and played way better. And just getting there. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. What specifically do you think you did better then?
Just getting out of my stance quicker, using my hands, stuff like that.
Do you think maybe you were just a little tentative in the first half or something, or?
Uh, yeah, I guess. Being G Day, didn't have one last year. It was my second G Day. Being in front of the fans, you always get a little nervous.
I got you. I got you. Well, of course, the offense was certainly a focal point, in the spring, and a lot of that was because of the quarterback JT Daniels, who certainly was in the spotlight, and of course had a big G-Day game, throwing for over 300 yards and some touchdowns. But just talk about him and what he brings to the table. Obviously, he had a good finish to last season, and throughout the spring, and certainly in G-Day. Is he already way better than he was last year?
Yeah, I think JT. He's the person to always do everything right. He's always getting extra film in, always helping other players. He'll send out in a group me, come and we'll get extra throwing in and stuff like that. So he's always trying to get better and get the connection with the receivers and stuff.
And he kind of seems like a guy who is, kind of loosey goosey, a natural born leader, a guy that, kind of takes command of the huddle like you want a quarterback to do. I mean, are we seeing kind of a guy that's a typical quarterback like you would expect a quarterback to be?
Yes, sir, definitely. When we get in the huddle, he's the only one talking. He's telling everybody what to do, making sure everybody's on the same page.
And of course, last year, a new offense, a new coordinator. A lot of people thought maybe that Coach Smart didn't take the reins off the offense because of the situation with the quarterback starting out the year, with the new offense and the quarterback situation being unsettled. But, I knew you guys threw it around maybe a lot more than maybe you even want to this coming season. That's kind of the nature of the spring game. You really didn't feature the run game as much as maybe you even will during the season. But is it safe to say that, based on the spring and based on what we saw in G-Day, even though the passing game was way more wide open than it might be, that this Georgia offense is going to be way more wide open this year than it was last year?
Yes, sir, definitely. Considering that we had spring and, building from what we have now going into the season, I think so.
And of course, obviously, we don't know the status of George Pickens, at least, throughout the whole year, whether or not he will make it back, off the ACL injury or not. Of course, he's certainly the big time playmaker at wide receiver, but Georgia has a lot of depth at wide receiver, regardless if he makes it back or not. I guess y'all guys feel like you have enough depth and enough guys that JT can throw the ball to all around a lot, I would assume, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I guess we saw a couple of guys make names for themselves. Talk about like the Washington guy and a couple of other guys that made names for themselves on Saturday.
Of course, everybody saw Darnell. He's 6'7", and what he did in the field and his ball skills and everything. He's a big time player for us. And AD, the freshman, number 5, he showed everybody what he can do and stuff. He came out and played good. You had people like Demetrius Robinson and Kearis Jackson, who are older guys, came through and contributed and stuff like that.
Now, of course, I know you guys didn't really feature the run game as much. Some of your running backs did catch the ball out of the backfield as well. But, of course, a stable full of running backs, Samir White, James Cook, Kenny McIntosh, Milton. The list goes on and on. And I know that the staple of the Georgia offense has been running the football under Kirby Smart. I mean, if need be, even though it looks like Georgia's going to throw the ball around a lot with JT Daniels at quarterback, with the offensive linemen still maturing, do you guys still feel like you can line up and get physical with people and match the football if you need to?
Yes, sir, most definitely.
Okay. And I mean, just talk about the stable full of backs that you guys do have. I mean, I guess y'all are confident in all those guys, right?
Oh yeah, Zamir and Cook. They came back this year because they have something to prove. Just having that leadership for the young guys, for like Kendall and Dejan. Just setting the path for them boys and showing them how to work and stuff like that, and just giving them little tricks and stuff that they have. And just hopefully we can keep that running back tradition going around here.
Now, when you left Brunswick High, a lot of people around here thought, Warren McClendon is such a nice kid. I don't know if he can get, physical and tough and play on the offensive line in the SEC. And I think they meant that as a compliment, but your coaches and even your Uncle Willie talked about how sound you were fundamentally with your footwork and your hands and the way you used your body in terms of, exactly what a offensive lineman's supposed to do. But as a young guy going in there, obviously everybody has to make an adjustment, or it's a big adjustment going from high school football to college football. For you, looking back, what was the biggest adjustment? What was the biggest, wow moment? Hey, I'm here in college football. What was the biggest shocker to you? What did you have to adjust to the most going from high school to college?
Just the speed of the game. Everybody flying around, everything's moving way faster than it was in high school. And, having to get my conditioning up and being able to move like they move and making sure I can have extended plays and stuff like that.
And of course, kind of along the same line, obviously, you had the fundamentals down. You were prepared from that standpoint. Obviously, you had the bloodlines and the genes. But going back to high school, I know you took things seriously on the practice field, and certainly with your academics, that was not a problem at all. But as far as giving advice, maybe to a high school kid now looking to play college football, or somebody who may be, a junior or a senior getting looks, if there was maybe one or two things that you could go back and do over, and not that necessarily you were doing anything wrong, but maybe it's just spending a little more time doing this or that, whether it's in the weight room or on the practice field, just in drill work, maybe something that you were doing good, but maybe, hey, I should have spent maybe a little more time doing this. I would have been maybe a little more advanced or a little further along when I got to Georgia. Is there any one or two things that you would advise somebody to just spend 5 or 10 minutes more a day doing as far as an offensive lineman to be a little better prepared for college football?
I would say the weight room definitely was a big part. That's a big part coming into a big SEC school. Everybody's strong, so you got to be strong. And for me personally, probably be my flexibility. I should have worked on flexibility more, just in my hips and my ankles and stuff like that. Just stretching extra 5 minutes a day.
I got you. I got you. And of course, I know Brunswick's has some issues with some injuries, some freak injuries and stuff like that. And I know they're actually kind of concentrating on that more themselves. But speaking of Brunswick, I can't remember what game it was. You probably do. I don't know if it was the city championship game or one of the playoff games, but I think you had the chance to speak to the Pirates as an offense. It might have just been the linemen on one of their Thursday night deals, I think it was, when they got together before their games each week. And I think we might have been talking actually to Coach Pender that night, and I think you had just gotten done talking to them. We had the Thursday night show during the season where we talked a lot of high school football on the eve of Friday night games. During that speech, I don't know if you had a prepared speech or if you just kind of spoke to the heart or from your heart to the Pirates that night, but kind of what was your speech to those guys that night? Was it prepared? Was it from the heart? Do you remember that night specifically and what you talked about?
Uh, I don't think I wrote anything down. I think it was the city championship game. So it was Brunswick High versus Glenn. And I think I pretty much just told them, go out there and have fun, and for the seniors, it's the last time you get to do it. You don't want to go out losing, your senior year to your rival school. So just going out there, just having fun, and just leaving everything on the field.
And of course, they didn't. Of course, that game went all the way to the wire. I don't know what you've heard about it, but one of the classic games in that series. And it was certainly fun to be there that night. But obviously, Warren, another guy from here, Jack Podlesny, a walk-on guy who certainly won the job, in fall camp last year and had a great year for the Dogs. And, of course, became a hero in the game, bowl game last year, kicking the winning field goal to beat Cincinnati. I don't know if you get to spend much time with him off the field or not, or if y'all get to talk, but talk about Jack and the job he's done and the hero he's become up there in Athens for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Pod, he's a good guy. He's always been a good guy to talk to. Just being from Brunswick, where I'm from, it's cool to have that connection with him. We disagree with, high school stuff because you went across town. But besides that, he's a good guy, and he works hard and does everything he's supposed to.
Yeah, for sure. Y'all are two good guys who represent this area, and everybody here is certainly proud of you. And it's good to see that a terror like him and a pirate like you can get along and all that kind of good stuff. And everybody's on the same page now and kind of on the same channel with you guys playing for the Dogs. We all at least like Georgia anyway. So, but I don't know if you saw it or not, but your mom actually got her name in not the newspaper, but in Dog Nation. They talked to her. She was up there to watch G-Day. Did your parents get to go to most of the games this year to watch you this past season?
Yes, they came to most of the games. The ones that they couldn't make, they didn't come to Arkansas, like Missouri, anything like that. They came to most games.
And did your Uncle Willie go to some or all? Or
I think he came to a couple games. I can't remember which ones he came to.
He's getting on up there where he probably likes to just stay home and watch them on TV, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't fight the crowds and the traffic and all that kind of good stuff. Talk about what's next for you. I mean, I know right now you're probably wrapping up school and going to take finals and all that kind of good stuff, but will you get to come home and have some free time with your friends and family here in the Golden Isles, and then maybe go back and take summer school, work out, all that kind of stuff this summer? Kind of what's next for Warren McClendon as you get ready to continue preparation for the fall and the 2021 season?
Probably just finishing this semester off strong with school and everything. Got finals and stuff coming up, so just finishing strong with that, and then just going back into workout mode and getting ready for the season.
Is there anything as far as the off season besides lifting weights, getting bigger, stronger, and faster that you feel like you need to really specialize in or focus on, like in any kind of individual workouts to kind of get ready to play on the front this year?
Probably footwork, getting footwork down, getting my hands good, hand placement and stuff like that, and using leverage and stuff. And then just perfecting my craft, making little adjustments to stuff to help me out.
All right. So when does all the Clemson material go up on the bulletin board in the weight room, or is it already up?
Shoot, I haven't. Shoot, I left at 1 o'clock, so we'll see today.
Okay. So you already have a workout schedule?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so they don't give y'all much time off between spring ball and the next workout, huh?
Yeah, we got a little break yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. All right, Warren. Well, we certainly appreciate your time, and maybe if you come home and maybe we'll get to see you around the high school before you go back up to Athens. But we certainly appreciate your time today, and maybe we can talk to you again before the 2021 season starts.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, Warren. We appreciate it.